Good morning, it is the day after and we are going to untape this beauty and get it out into the sun and let it bake for a few hours while it's not raining. So a quick tip for unmasking your paint. So for example, let's say that you want to untape this section here. You want to pull down on an angle. And what that does is that join there, see that angle? Like about there, that's perfect. So that will actually rip any paint between two layers in a nice fashion. So if you're pulling upwards like this and towards it, it's more likely to flake up and peel off your paint on your actual car. So down on an angle, nice and slow, because remember it's just freshly painted and that's how you do it, okay? So that's basically it, untaped, and really, if you were just doing it as a quick respray, you could leave it like that, right? You don't have to cut and polish. As long as you're getting a bit of high pressure, like 30 or so PSI when you're doing your clear, it should go on pretty smooth without getting runs like I did. A lot of contaminants, and that was actually from the water from my airlines, and I had two different knockout pots, like filters in it, and I was just still getting water. I don't know why, I've never had it happen before. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm happy for what it is. It's for this type of car, for its purpose. It's just to get rid of that blue, and it looks actually fantastic. It's sitting pretty flat. If I wanted to, I'll cut and polish it real quick to get rid of the imperfections and stuff. And the drips, I'll actually go through the easiest way I know. Pretty well, I'm gonna put this out in the sun and just let this paint pretty much bake a little bit more. And then yeah, we'll get on the rest of this video and then we'll go drifting this weekend. So stay there, get yourself a cup of coffee or something, and we'll get back into it. Welcome back. Okay, so it's about 3 days before the drift event and it's had a day or two to, you know, go off a little bit. It's pretty obviously hard, but it's still quite soft. It's 2K, takes a little while to get rock hard. Ideally, I'm gonna finish what I'm doing today, then roll it back out in the sun and let it bake for hopefully today if it stays sunny and blue sky like it is. But before I put it out there and let it bake, I just want to take care of some of these drips I've got. I'll show you now what I do and then I'll put it on hyperlapse. So first of all, I get a nice sharp razor like this one, right? And then I grind down the edges ever so slightly, about 5mm in, just so they're tapered away, and then I tape them up. So the tape itself is actually still lower than the cutting edge of the blade. And I'll do that both sides. I just wanted to show you this other side before I taped it up. That's all it is. And that will protect the sides of the razor digging in, making hard scratches. So I've only got a cutting edge. And I actually hang on to that section here when I scrape it. And basically, I'll very gently go down and scrape down the ridges of this drip. And basically, well, wherever there's a drip, I'll scrape down the ridges, just taking shavings off at a time until it's very close to being smooth or flat as possible. And then 1500 grit, just hand sand it, a bit of wet hand sanding, just to smooth it off. And that's all I'm gonna do for this car. Okay, so the other one was down here. This is a nice big drip here. The other way I've done it is spreading a coat of bog over that area. Just a light skim coat, just so that the ridges of the drip protrude. And what you do then is wet sand the whole thing down by hand, and you wet sand just the bogged area. And what that does is, if you try to sand that now with a block, the drip will start to sand down, yes, but you're gonna have either side of as well, because the drip's only like 1mm or 2 big. Either side of the drip is going to start sanding away as well. That's what the bog is supposed to do. It's supposed to give you a whole flat area to sand down, and you just keep working in until your edges start to disappear. And once all the bogs disappear, that means your drip's disappeared. Either way, have a go of both, I guess. See what works for you. There's probably more ways, but that's the two that I can tell you about now. Anyway, it's too early for this much talking. I'm going to get into this side and the other side, and once that's done, I'll quickly show you a quick look around once it's done and sanded, and I'll just put it on hyperlapse so you can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to put it out in the sun and I guess, start putting together later on today. Alrighty, so that basically took like 5 minutes. I ended up taping up a little bit closer to just a small amount of the razor showing, because this big drip here, what was happening is that even still I was hitting the middle, but the outside of the exposed razors were still making marks on the outside. Not very deep, but just enough to sort of like be scraping it as well. So I just put a bit more tape around, so it's only a little bit exposed, and I could really focus down on that drip and take it away. So that's basically what it is. I'll do that the same on the other side. I'm not going to do the bog technique because it does take longer, but it's, in my opinion, a better finish for me. You know, the pros out there could probably do this, no worries, with their eyes shut. But yeah, so anyway, that's what I've done. That's how it looks now. It looks pretty bad, but why not wet sand it, try to blend it in, and we'll see how it goes. Okie dokie, I've got some 800 grit, I've got some 1200 grit, and I've got some 2000 grit. These are the stages I'm going to go and wet sand it in. That's what I'm choosing to do. Pretty much any sandpaper will go wet. It's just how long it will stay wet, whether it's specifically wet and dry sandpaper, or it's, you know, eventually will break down. But for what I'm using it for, it's going to be fine just to try to wet it down and soften it up a bit. Ideally, to use a block, even a small hard block, so you're not misforming anything, so you can blend in the whole area. That's going to be smooth. But for me, because I don't want to really do the whole car, cut and polish or anything, I want to keep it the way it is, just off the gun. That's what I'm doing for this specific thing. So anyway, here, I'm just going to be blending it in with my finger. That's what I'm doing with this build, okay? So no death threats on the bottom if you're a qualified painter. Well, you can if you want, I don't care. But anyway, that's what 2000 grit looks like when it's been sanded on a freshly painted clear coat. It's got really satin matte finish, and obviously you can't leave it like that. Unfortunately, the normal cut and polish compound that I use, it's 3M. It's not here, it's still at my old workshop. So I've found some 2 old ones I've had for about 9 years. So this one here is pretty gluggy. I don't know if it's going to be any good. The other one I found was the old Meguiar's, and everyone's probably seen this because obviously it's a big name brand. Unfortunately, these are the 2 ones I've got, so I'm going to use one on one and the other one on the other one, and we'll compare the 8-year-old products that I've been keeping in my storage for this long, okay? And all I'm going to do is basically just get a nice clean microfiber cloth, pretty much juice up the cloth pretty well, and just start rubbing in circles. And just keep doing that. Meguiar's on the left and the juice on the right, okay? One minute for this side and 30 seconds for that side. So you can still see, obviously it's still a bit cloudy. It's taken a fair bit of it away, but not as much as we want, right? And by the way, this is just hand polishing, okay? You can use pneumatic or, you know, I have tools to do it. I just wanted to show you that it's possible with hand for a small sanding spot. One last tip is these polish rags, 10 bucks for a bag. Rip these tags off. As soon as you get them, rip them off, get rid of them, because especially in a paint job, that's enough to scratch the paint, especially in a fresh paint job. Get rid of the tag, make sure there's no stubs left. Use clean cloths every time. Okay, so I just grabbed this eBay special Velcro pad for a drill attachment and just a foam pad. I couldn't find a wool pad because wool's the most aggressive. But anyway, I just put a bit of that and Meguiar's on there and literally hit it for about not even a minute. Don't worry about the streaks because that's just from not being cleaned properly. But for me, that's sweet. I'm happy with that. You're better off doing all this stuff now because it's going to be a lot easier for you to do the sanding and polishing and all that sort of stuff while it's reasonably fresh. But also remember that it will mark easier too. So